The Lemnorian commander Odin slammed his fist on the control panel, swearing under his breath. The attack on Earth was supposed to be an easy victory. But somehow, the humans knew they were coming. And now, Odin's ship limped away from the blue planet, trailing smoke and debris, the humans' message ringing in his ears. Leave now, and tell your leaders that if they ever return, we will blast them out of the sky just like we did to you. We will never let you anger humanity again. Just one day earlier, the Lemnorian ship had approached Earth, armed and ready for conquest. In the centuries since humanity had colonized the solar system, they had never encountered an alien race. But Earth's deep space probes had detected the incoming Lemnorian ship, and Earth's leaders knew it could only mean one thing: invasion. On Earth, alarms blared as Isaac Collins, humanity's best soldier, raced to the Space Command Center. Screens showed the massive Lemnorian ship, bristling with weapons, growing closer by the minute. Isaac knew what he had to do. Charging into the command room, he saluted the general. "Sir, permission to mobilize Earth's defense fleet and intercept the alien threat." The general nodded grimly. "Do it, Collins. That ship cannot reach Earth. If those aliens break through, it will mean the end of everything. The end of the human race itself. You're our last hope." Jumping into his space fighter, Isaac shot into orbit. 1,000 other space fighters behind him, engines screaming. As the Lemnorians entered visual range, Isaac hailed them. "Attention, alien vessel. This is Captain Isaac Collins of the Earth Defense Fleet. Stand down immediately or we will engage with full force." But the only response from the alien ship was a barrage of laser fire. Isaac didn't hesitate. "All fighters, engage! Draw their fire away from Earth." The human fighters swarmed the Lemnorian ship, nimbly dodging the lumbering vessel's attacks. Under Isaac's command, the fighters targeted the Lemnorian engines and weapons. The alien's ship was bigger and stronger, but the humans flew circles around it with their speed and strategic coordination. As explosions blossomed along the Lemnorian hull, the alien commander Odin knew he had gravely miscalculated. These humans were far more advanced than their probes had indicated, and their small fighters were tearing his warship apart. "Withdraw!" Odin barked to his crew. "Get us out of here." The Lemnorian ship turned in a slow arc, engines flickering, and retreated into deep space. On Earth, crowds cheered as they watched the alien ship limp away on their screens. Isaac Collins had saved them all. But in the command center, there was no celebration. Isaac and the generals looked at each other grimly. They all knew this was only the beginning. The Lemnorians would return with more ships and more firepower. An interstellar war was coming to humanity's doorstep, and Isaac would have to be ready. The survival of the human species itself would depend on him finding a way to defeat this alien threat, no matter the cost. Isaac clenched his fists, staring into the starry expanse on the view screen. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he swore, humanity would prevail. As the massive Lemnorian armada swept into the solar system, alarms blared across Earth's defense network. Isaac Collins, now placed in supreme command of humanity's space forces, stood on the bridge of the orbital command station, his eyes fixed on the approaching enemy fleet. "Outer perimeter defenses! Activate on my mark!" Isaac barked into the comm. 3, 2, 1, mark! 1,000 unmanned platforms and cloaked minefields lit up, unleashing a storm of missiles and explosions into the front ranks of the Lemnorian ships. Fireballs blossomed against the void as the initial wave was battered and broken. But the alien fleet pushed relentlessly onward, their losses not enough to halt their advance. Isaac narrowed his eyes. Time for the next phase. "Spectre Wing, commence stealth attack!" A swarm of sleek human ships, equipped with advanced cloaking and jamming tech, sliced into the heart of the Lemnorian formation. Weaving between the lumbering alien craft, they struck with surgical precision. Flashes of light danced across Lemnorian hulls as the human ships' rail cannons and fusion warheads found their marks. In seconds, A dozen enemy capital ships were reduced to drifting wrecks before the Lemnorians even realized they were under attack. On the bridge of his flagship, Commander Odin slammed a fist into the arm of his command chair, teeth bared in rage as more of his ships fell to the human assault. "Enough games," he snarled. "Destroy their Mars outpost, maximum firepower." A Lemnorian dreadnought adjusted its heading, its spinal beam cannon glowing with baleful energy. A second later, a searing lance of destruction sliced through space, striking the human military base on Mars dead on. The outpost vanished in an eruption of molten slag. Isaac's face darkened as the report of the outpost's obliteration reached him. His voice cold as space itself, he hailed his waiting reserves hidden within the rings of Saturn. "Ambush group, spring the trap. Let's show them the cost of striking our homes." The Saturn rings lit up as dozens of concealed nukes and missile pods, nestled amidst the drifting ice and rock, activated and launched. The Lemnorian ships caught inside had no time to react before the ring debris field became a killing zone of shrapnel, radiation, and fire. Odin's forces reeled as a full third of their number was instantly annihilated or crippled. But the Lemnorian commander was far from done. "All ships bypass their outer defenses," he called to the remainder of his fleet. "Strike for Earth before they can regroup. We will take their homeworld or die trying." As Odin's vanguard of elite ships burned hard for Earth, Isaac was already in motion. "All Earth forces fall back and form a defensive sphere around the planet. Militia ships, civilian volunteers, everyone lock into formation around the orbital defense grid." Swarming together, the gathered human ships formed a dense filled shield around their blue homeworld. And not a moment too soon, as Odin's vanguard slammed into the edges of Earth's defenses like a tidal wave of fire and steel. Energy beams crisscrossed with fusion missiles, rail cannons traded fire with kinetic kill projectiles, and ships on both sides vanished in plumes of vaporized metal as the two fleets clashed. Isaac was everywhere, his commands crisp and precise as he directed Earth's defenses. Attack drones harried the Lemnorian flanks. EMP mines disrupted their sensors and targeting. Gravitational lensing from Earth's satellite network bent the aliens' beams away from critical targets. Slowly, painfully, the Lemnorians' advance faltered. For every human ship that fell, 3 Lemnorian craft were shattered and broken, the seemingly unstoppable alien attack blunted by human guile and grit. Missiles, rail slugs, and energy beams tore into Odin's flagship, opening gaping rents in its armored hull, until finally the Lemnorian commander was forced to disengage before his ship was destroyed outright. As the last of Odin's vanguard limped away from Earth, trailing fire and wreckage, a battered cheer went up from the human fleet. They had held the line. They had defended their home. Earth was safe for now. But Isaac didn't join in the celebration. He watched grimly as the Lemnorian fleet regrouped at the edge of the solar system, their numbers still vast. Earth had won the battle. Yes. But the war was just beginning, and the odds were far from in their favor. There could be no rest, no respite, because Isaac knew this was not the end. Odin would return, more ships, more weapons, more fury than ever before. And when that day came, humanity had to be ready, or Earth and everyone on it would burn. Isaac Collins stood on the bridge of the orbital command station, his eyes scanning the tactical displays. The remnants of Odin's vanguard force were retreating, but Isaac knew this was not nearly finished. "All ships, regroup and form defensive formations," he ordered. "We've bloodied their nose, but the real fight's coming." As the human fleet regrouped, Isaac turned to his second-in-command. "Deploy our long-range stealth drones. I want eyes on Odin's fleet at all times." Within hours, a network of invisible sentinels spread throughout the solar system, feeding real-time intel back to Earth. Isaac watched grimly as the massive Lemnorian armada regrouped, their numbers still overwhelming despite the losses they'd suffered. "Sir, we finished analyzing the captured Lemnorian tech," a scientist reported. "You're not going to believe this." Isaac listened intently as the scientist explained their findings. The Lemnorians had reverse-engineered human technology, but their understanding was incomplete. Their ship's systems were vulnerable to targeted EM disruption. "Can we exploit this?" Isaac asked. "We believe so. We're already modifying some of our probes to emit precisely calibrated EM pulses." Isaac nodded. "Get those probes deployed immediately. Position them throughout our defensive grid." As Earth's defenses were shored up, the Lemnorian fleet made its move. Thousands of alien ships surged forward, a tidal wave of destruction bearing down on humanity's homeworld. "All ships, execute Battle Plan Sigma," Isaac commanded. "Draw them into the kill zones." Human vessels darted and weaved, leading portions of the Lemnorian fleet into carefully prepared traps. As the alien ships entered these zones, mines detonated and the EM probes activated. Lemnorian ships began to drift, their systems failing. Isaac seized the moment. "All batteries, open fire! Target their weakened shields and hull breaches." A storm of missiles and railgun rounds tore into the crippled Lemnorian vessels. Explosions blossomed across space as ship after ship was torn apart. On his flagship, Odin raged at the carnage. "Enough of this! All ships, commence orbital bombardment of Earth! Wipe these vermin from existence!" But as the Lemnorian weapons powered up, a new layer of Earth's defenses revealed itself. A network of platforms hidden until now sprang to life. Energy fields shimmered into existence, deflecting the incoming barrage. Isaac allowed himself a small smile. His foresight had paid off. The battle raged on, neither side able to gain a decisive advantage. Then one of Isaac's sensor operators called out, "Sir, massive Lemnorian vessel detected entering the system." Isaac's eyes narrowed as he studied the readings. A behemoth of a carrier, easily dwarfing anything else in the Lemnorian fleet. "This is our chance," Isaac said. "All ships form up on me. We're taking that carrier down." The human fleet surged forward, concentrating its firepower on the lumbering giant. Missiles streaked through space, railguns thundered, and energy weapons lashed out. The carrier's shields buckled under the assault. Explosions ripped through its hull. As a final volley struck home, the massive ship began to list, caught in Earth's gravity well. Isaac watched as the carrier plummeted towards Earth, breaking apart as it fell. He turned back to his crew, persistence etched on his face. The tide was turning, but the battle was not nearly finished. The massive Lemnorian carrier plummeted towards Earth, breaking apart as it fell. Isaac watched the destruction unfold, his face etched with grim satisfaction. But there was no time to savor the victory. On his tactical display, he saw Odin's remaining forces regrouping. "Sir, the Lemnorians are changing formation," his tactical officer reported. They're all moving to target our defense platforms." Isaac's eyes widened as he realized Odin's desperate plan. "All ships, protect those platforms at all costs," he barked into the comm. A storm of energy beams and missiles erupted from the Lemnorian fleet, hammering Earth's orbital defenses. Isaac watched in horror as one platform after another flickered and died, leaving gaps in humanity's shield. "Divert all fighter squadrons to run interference," Isaac ordered. "I want bombers making constant attack runs on those Lemnorian ships." Earth's fighters swarmed around the alien vessels, weaving through a hail of point defense fire. Explosions blossomed along Lemnorian hulls as human bombers struck home again and again. But it wasn't enough. The platforms were buckling under the relentless assault. "Sir," a sensor operator called out. "New contact entering the system. It's huge." Isaac's blood ran cold as he saw the readings. A behemoth Lemnorian vessel, filled with construction arms and fabrication bays. "They're going to replace their losses right here on the front line," Isaac muttered. He knew he had to act fast. "I need our best strike teams prepped and ready in 5 minutes. We're taking that factory down." Aboard a stealth insertion craft, Isaac briefed his elite commandos. "Our target is the central fabrication system," he explained. "We blow that, and we cripple their whole operation." The human ship slipped past the Lemnorian defenses, latching onto the factory's hull. Isaac led the charge as they breached the alien vessel, fighting through twisting corridors filled with strange machinery. Lemnorian defenders swarmed them, forcing the humans to fight for every inch. Isaac watched good soldiers fall, but pressed on. They had to reach the fabrication core. Finally, they broke through to a cavernous chamber filled with blazing forges and assembly lines. Isaac's team was down to a handful of survivors. "Plant those charges!" Isaac shouted over the din of battle. "We've got one shot at this!" As Lemnorian troops closed in, the last human commando slumped to the ground, spent. Isaac himself staggered to the main control panel, blood seeping from a dozen wounds. With the last of his strength, he activated the overload sequence. Alarms blared as the factory began to tear itself apart. Isaac dragged himself to an escape pod, barely conscious as it jettisoned away from the dying vessel. From his command station, Isaac watched the Lemnorian shipyard disintegrate in a spectacular explosion. Without their supply line, the alien fleet began to falter. "All ships, press the attack," Isaac ordered. "Take them down one by one." Earth's forces surged forward, methodically destroying the remaining Lemnorian capital ships. Isaac himself led the final assault on Odin's flagship, his strike craft weaving through a storm of defensive fire. Railgun slugs tore through the alien vessel's hull, leaving gaping wounds. As flames engulfed the bridge, a final transmission crackled through. "You mongrels," Odin's voice snarled. "You cannot fathom what you've done. The consequences—" The transmission cut off as Odin's ship erupted in a massive fireball. In the aftermath, Isaac addressed the remnants of Earth's battered fleet. "We've won the day," he said, his voice heavy with fatigue, "but this is nowhere near the end." He played an intercepted Lemnorian transmission, filled with garbled references to reinforcements from something called the Prime Worlds. "We've bloodied their nose," Isaac continued, "but I fear we've only seen the first wave. There's an empire out there, and we've made ourselves its enemy." Isaac gazed out at the star-filled void, his face set with fierce pride. "But let them come," he said. "We've shown the galaxy what humanity is made of, and we'll be ready for whatever comes next."
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.